Hey guys, it's your boy Davion. Welcome back to my channel, and we're here to talk about Iyanla Fix My Life, Hazel-E. If you guys are interested, then stay tuned. I thought this episode of Iyanla Fix My Life was really good for one. I did watch some other people's review for the episode, and I was low-key surprised that people didn't really feel like this episode was really full of shit. Because I thought it was a really good episode, especially with the current climate in our country being so thick with racism and colorism. This was a perfect opportunity for us to continue in a conversation, especially as black people within the black community, about the issue of colorism. Obviously, Hazel-E had an outburst last year that pretty much deaded her career. She lost her job on Love and Hip Hop, and for those of you who don't know who Hazel-E is, Erica is a reality star who appeared on a few seasons of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. She had a long-standing spot on that particular franchise until she got into it on Twitter and Instagram with some of the girls from Love and Hip Hop Hollywood after the reunion had aired. And so obviously celebrities take to Twitter all the time to throw shots and digs at one another, and in the midst of the back and forth between her and her Love and Hip Hop counterparts, she ended up making some very derogatory statements toward brown-skinned women, calling them monkeys and saying, "You ugly dark butts." Also, her boyfriend at the time, Rose Burgundy, had made some super homophobic remarks toward the LGBT community, saying that, you know, LGBT people are going to hell anyway, and blah, 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 blah. And so it was a really messy situation, and Hazel-E got her ass handed to her at the time. She was one of the most talked about people for a whole fucking week, and nearly everybody had a video just going in on her ass, just like Kim Burrell when she made her statement, just off with their head. Her coming on to Iyanla's show was a attempt, obviously, to get some reconciliation, some understanding, and maybe some empathy from the public. And at the time that all this happened, Hazel-E did make a apology stating that she didn't mean to hurt anybody, and that, you know, she's not a colorist, she's a black woman herself, and that, you know, she was only trying to target the girls who were talking to her. She didn't mean to offend whole communities of people, black women, nor the LGBT community, but obviously the public wasn't buying into it. So Iyanla sits down with Hazel-E and her mother, and Hazel-E mom looks really fucking good. She's a good looking mother. She looks really young. She looks well put together. As easy as it is to pick on Hazel-E, because she's one of those people that the public just, you know, loves to pick on and loves to tear apart, that's way too easy to do. I'm not going to even go that route. I'm actually going to approach just from a real perspective. I'm not even going to act like I don't understand where Hazel-E is coming from in terms of her saying that, you know, she just started hitting below the belt, because every motherfucker who I know who has engaged in verbal combat with someone eventually has really, you know, said everything that could be said about a person. This is typically what happens in verbal sparring. You talk about somebody's weight, you talk about somebody's skin, you talk about somebody's situation, you broke motherfucker, what, you know, you talk about whatever, and sometimes it gets really motherfucking nasty. If a person knows you have a disease, they say, you know, you AIDS infested motherfucker, or, you know, this is what the fuck happens. And so Hazel-E isn't some self-proclaimed Christian person who's saying I'm righteous and holy and I practice turning the other cheek. She's a fucking reality star. She's a regular smuggler ass human being like everybody else. With that said, even when I read the comments, I was disappointed that Hazel-E had made the comments she made about darker skinned women. But I also just did not believe Hazel-E was a fucking colorist. After all, she started off in her season on Love and Hip Hop with Tia Marie, who is a brown-skinned woman. And her and Tia Marie was roommates, and they were best friends for years prior to doing the show and living together up until the show. Matter of fact, she also got close to Masika. Hazel-E was always filming. She was always in relationship and friendship to dark-skinned women. So I didn't believe that Hazel-E was a fucking colorist. I mean, I just fucking didn't. I just didn't. And when she said all that shit, it sounded like somebody who was just trying to say something that could hurt the girls as much as she was feeling hurt by what the girls were saying about her on the show. It did not, to me, scream across as these were sincere feelings that Hazel-E has. And she's a reality star, so honestly, I expect all they ass to be ratchet, so I'm not really surprised when crazy shit gets said and done, because these people live for controversy. They live to put themselves in controversial positions, and because they are reality stars, they're given a pass to act the goddamn butthole fool. Sometimes that foolishness gets out of control and it ends up really fucking with that person's livelihood and brand, like it did Hazel-E. So she got carried away in having a pass to act a damn fool, and she ended up saying some shit that now I can't even say she's going to really recover from, because I don't think that the public is going to be that forgiving of Hazel-E. Hazel-E continued to unpack her shit as she sat down with Iyanla, and she began to talk about an incident that occurred when she was younger, where she was raped / molested by another group of girls, some darker skinned girls. One girl apparently made her do some really inappropriate and sexual things to another girl, and both of these girls were dark skinned. I think at that point I saw like a little light bulb go off in Iyanla's head. It definitely went off in mine, and I said, oh, this explained why even in her pettiness it was important for her to highlight the fact that you brown but you dark skinned girls, because this comes back to a offense and a transgression against her when she was younger that she never really dealt with and she never really unpacked, because as we could tell, her mom at that time, I'm not sure, was a great emotional support, because her mom totally fucking forgot that Hazel-E had even been molested by these girls. Now, Hazel-E's mom did say she handled it at the time, but it sounded like the girls got in trouble, but she wasn't much of an aid to Hazel-E in terms of healing that emotionally and mentally. It was just also bizarre that a parent could forget something like how can you forget, especially when you knew and you also intervened in the situation, and yet you forgot that this traumatic, bizarre thing happened to your fucking daughter. Hazel-E mom and her domestic situation where she was getting beat up badly by her boyfriend at the time definitely must have knocked a few screws loose in Hazel-E mother's head in order for her memory not to retain, you know, the molestation of her fucking daughter. So that spoke volumes to that. Not to mention that Hazel-E was raised around her mother being assaulted by a man to the point where her mom will have a black eye and a busted lip. And so this definitely, for me, opened up my empathy toward Hazel-E, because as a spiritual advisor and as somebody who is a healer and somebody who helps people to bring healing into their lives, I know that people are not who they are just because. People are who they are by circumstance. We all are products of our environments, of our conditioning, of things that we were exposed to, things we were taught by our family, things that we were taught within by our parents, things that we were taught by society. We all are byproducts of these things one way or the other. And Hazel-E's explicitness, Hazel-E's outburst and willingness to bring up people's complexion when she is insulting them is a reflection of a lot of undealt with trauma that has happened in Hazel-E's life. And that was also the point of Iyanla sitting her before some of the great pioneers, the black female pioneers of black history, like Dorothy Dandridge and Harriet Tubman. She made Hazel-E recite her fucking rap lyrics in front of these women, you know, pop, pop, pop my butt, pop, pop, pop my pussy, and it was really embarrassing. And the whole point of Iyanla doing that was to say, look, bitch, you ain't no boss, and your behavior is embarrassing. To real black women who used their intelligence, used their charisma, and used their personalities, and used their life to mean something, not just for themselves, but for other people around. And that when you get your ass up here calling other females bitches and hoes, and you in a thong on Instagram, and you know, acting like you ain't got no home training, you are able to act the butt fool because these are the women whose shoulders you are standing on. You get to come on TV in a thong, you get to come on national TV and act like a damn heathen and a hoodlum because of what these women who actually changed history, these women who actually fought for your black ass, these women who actually were able to walk and talk and move in the world in such a way that it provided opportunity for you today to be the liberated woman that you are. These women created the opportunity for you to have freedoms and luxuries and liberties as a woman. So when you have opportunity to be before millions of people, think about something deeper than pop, pop, pop my ass. Think about something deeper than bitch, hoe, fuck you, dark skin, black skin, long hair, ugly bitch. Call yourself to a higher expression of feminine energy. So I thought that exercise was really dope. Iyanla closed the episode out by having dark-skinned women, including Hazel-E and her mother, and light-skinned women sit before each other and tell each other their stories. And they hugged it out, they reconciled, people spoke their pain, people spoke forgiveness, people spoke moving forward. I thought it was beautiful. What I want to say to this is colorism is real, and we have to get out of this mentality that dark-skinned people are the only victims of colorism. Light-skinned people are victims too, because light-skinned blacks are put in a position to have a privilege they are ignorant of having. And so we can't be so angry when light-skinned people act out of their privilege and they speak out of their privilege, because their privilege affords them their ignorance. We have to have compassion for that, and we have to be in a position where we are willing to educate our light-skinned sisters and brothers when they're being colorist, or when they are, unbeknownst to them, operating in a privilege that they don't know they have, or if they know they're having it, they're using it and they're abusing that privilege, and they're not conscious of their privilege as it relates to people of darker hues. We have to be more educational in that. So even though I understand the public's reaction to Hazel-E when she made her remarks, because they were tasteless, they were tacky, they were offensive, and they were defensive, and so the public had a defense against that. But we have to realize too that light-skinned people, they don't know that they're fucking privileged. And for a long time, light-skinned people lived in a world that supported this privilege. And black people brought into this privilege as well. Black people wanted their kids to have the silky hair and to have the lighter eyes, you know, the whole contact culture, you know, wanting to have green eyes and blue eyes, and all these things have to do with colorism. Silky hair, Brazilian straight, Peruvian straight, black people wearing these textures, contouring our noses, slender noses, nose jobs, bleaching our skin. All these things are the result of white supremacy, white patriarchy, white European beauty standards. And all black people are victims to this. I like the episode for the fact that it gave us an opportunity to revisit these conversations and to continue to address anti-blackness, self-hate, racism, and colorism within our community, because these issues are just as alive and well today as they have been ever. And yeah, we have representation of all kind at this point. We have dark-skinned superstars, light-skinned superstars, dark-skinned athletes, light-skinned athletes. We have an array of black excellence and talent and representation up there in all of its diverse forms. But colorism still plays a big role in what we consider to be attractive and what we consider to be sexy, and even people's credibility. People are willing to believe the testimony of a lighter skinned person over a darker skinned person. People are more willing to give opportunity to lighter skinned blacks than dark skinned blacks. Those are systems that we have to continue to fucking challenge and to destroy. And we have to continue to help our light skinned brothers and sisters wake up to their privilege so that they can use their privilege to bring darker skinned individuals into those spaces that they are able to access simply because of the complexion of their skin. Having these conversations is necessary, and I wish Hazel-E the best. You know, I hope that this was really a lesson learned for her, and she got to realize that her pain had a lot to do with that outburst, even her outburst about homosexuals. How ironic is it that she called out dark-skinned black women and called out gays, and here it is, she was molested and raped by dark-skinned women. That's a homosexual act performed on her by dark-skinned women. And that's exactly who she attacked in her outburst. That's powerful awareness. Everything that we do comes from something, and it comes from someplace. And half the time, it's completely subconscious. We don't even understand the place in which it comes from. So you guys tell me what you guys think about this episode of Iyanla Fix My Life. You guys leave your comments below. Rate, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I will talk to you guys later.